Hey, do you like Pokemon? I love Pokemon. In fact, I made a tier list of the 7 Pokemon games I own, so you don't have to. Wait a minute. I'm going to be judging each game by 4 different categories, which the following include the story, characters, world design, and most importantly, the Pokemon. Before we begin, major spoiler warning for the following games. Now that that's out of the way, make sure to subscribe and let's get into the video. Starting off with a rather controversial installment into the series, Pokémon Ultra Moon was released November 17, 2017. While the rest of the first-party franchises were off to make a banger on the new Nintendo Switch, Pokémon held back a year, finishing their 3DS titles with a sequel to Pokémon Sun and Moon, which were released the previous year. People were furious in these games' creation because they were basically the base games, but with a Necrozma plotline and a few more Ultra Beasts. People weren't just going to play the same game twice with minor changes, so it was pretty hated in the Pokemon community. However, Pokemon Ultra Moon was my first ever mainline Pokemon game, so in this video we're going to judge this game just as by itself, rather than as a sequel to Pokemon Sun and Moon. From nostalgia, I adored this game. 7-year-old me wanted to get a grasp at my 2DS whenever I could, so I dug hours into it. The Alola region was a unique take on the Pokemon franchise. Unlike one giant island with 8 gyms, Alola has 4 islands, each with their own spin to gyms, totem trials. Now, I personally think the concept of trials is mid. It's like a small puzzle with an overpowered boss Pokemon at the end. For the characters in this game, I'm mixed. First, you got the villainous groups. I actually think Team Skull was executed amazingly and Gladion is such a likable character. My stream outro music is actually a remix of Gladion's theme. The Aether Foundation was done as well. The idea of a corrupt organization but owned by the mother of Lily, your friend, is pretty cool. Personally, Lucamine hasn't really done well in the series. She's evil, but not evil? I don't know. Now for the story. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon have the best game climaxes in a Pokemon game. That's right, I said it. Every cutscene starting from the Temple of the Sun or Moon all the way to flippin' Ultra Necrozma is just amazing. The Nemi plotline is also really cool. For the Pokemon, the selection isn't the coolest, but there are some bangers, like Lycanroc, Incineroar, and the new Alolan form Pokemon. Overall, the nostalgia I feel coming back to this game has to make me put it at A tier. Next up, we have Pokemon Omega Ruby. It and Alpha Sapphire are the remakes of the Generation 3 home games, Ruby, Sapphire, and in a way, Emerald. In my opinion, these are the best remakes of a Pokemon game so far, though I haven't really played Heart Gold or Soul Silver, so that could change. This region is very unique for having a giant volcano as the focal point and multiple smaller islands surrounding one main island. One city in the game you even have to go underwater to get to. Something cool this remake has that's in addition to the already fly mechanic where you travel to location by loading screen is Latios flying. It may seem lame, but it was revolutionary at the time. Flying around Hoenn and seeing all the locations from the sky was awesome. Better than Ultra Moon for earlier are the characters. You have perhaps the best rivals May or Brendan, and Wally who got redesigns, amazing redesigned villains, and of course the most handsome, my personal favorite champion, Steven. I don't mind the semi-chibi art style at all for this game. Unlike some others, the base game story is just okay, incorporating the new Mega Evolution mechanic from X and Y in its alternate universe or something. Primal Groudon or Kyogre are pretty cool battles, and they make you feel scared for the fate of the region in the climax. But the real story gets the shine in the post-game, episode Delta. In it, you meet a character named Zinnia, and she helps you get on a flipping Rayquaza to fly to space to destroy a meteorite that is going to hit Hoenn. Then you fight Deoxys in space. The story of that is just wow. For Pokemon, new Mega Evolutions were added, which is awesome. But the main boy I gotta talk about is Mega Rayquaza. My favorite Pokemon got even better, 10 out of 10. Hoenn was a fun experience and my favorite region to play in, A tier. Now on to Pokémon X. So originally I was going to put this game higher as something one of a kind and special to me, like the others. Maybe at C tier or B tier, but then I remembered. I had no fond memories of playing this game. It was that unmemorable. And the funny thing is, the game's anime counterpart, Pokemon the series XY and XYZ, are some of the best, if not the best series in the Pokemon anime of all time. Ash was the coolest thing. Anyways, back to the games. Here we go. The region design is so bland that the center city, Lumiose, has 5 gateways that connect the entire region, which is a circle. The Lumiose is a cool city to stroll through with its many areas. Having 4 rivals is mid. It's too many. The professor just straight up gives you a Kanto starter just to show off their megas when they evolve later on. The villain Lysander's motivation is just to kill everyone, so the world can be beautiful? Crazy. And the champion is very unmemorable too. The plot is really odd. There was a great war, and then a guy's Floette died in the war, then he brought it back, but the thing that brought it back was a missile. He used that missile to kill a lot of Pokemon. Now the villain is using that missile to kill everyone, and it turns out that guy that is still alive, and then randomly he sees his Floette again at the end of the game after you become champion. It's confusing. Even after all of that, a small, somewhat redeeming factor is that this game introduced Pokemon's best gimmick, Mega Evolution, which has some awesome forms. Greninja is a fan favorite too, but that's it. Not gonna lie, Pokémon X as a game is D tier. Pokémon Sword. This is going to be the most controversial of all of the games so far, I can tell it. So this was my first game on my Nintendo Switch and my 4th Pokemon game, and I gotta say, it was really disappointing. And I didn't play DLC, so I'm not going to include it. First, the region's design is even worse than Kalos. You know how the Kalos region was just a giant circle? Well, Galar is basically a straight line. The wild area didn't even feel very exciting. The textures weren't very great, and the weather changed every 5 meters. The story of Pokemon Sword and Shield is really disappointing too. I can't really explain it, but I think there's an old hero who fought with the legendary dogs Zacian and Zamazenta in an event called the Darkest Day. Eternatus kinda comes out of nowhere, and you don't even get the box legendaries until the post-game in a completely separate story. Who are these characters? Hop is a worse How. The villain team isn't even a villain team at all, and I thought Beeb was a girl for months. Leon is cool though. Not going to lie, Generation 8 has the most forgettable roster of Pokemon by far. I didn't even know Ice-Q existed until Scarlet and Violet. Zacian is the only Pokemon I really like. It's a dog with a sword. How cool is that? And last, Dynamax is literally just going big for 3 moves. It's not that special. It's a bad gimmick. What I do like about the game is the music, which you're hearing right now, and the GUI is really clean looking. It isn't as bad as Pokemon X, but I don't like it. C tier. To get this video out on time, I'm gonna do Pokemon Brilliant Diamond pretty briefly. Okay, so for a first time Sinnoh playthrough, it's a decent game. The region has a neat design, the story is just alright, and Sinnoh brings some great Pokemon. The characters though, let's just say everything goes downhill when you encounter her. Anyways, the chibi art style looks awful in this game, and for a remake of Diamond and Pearl, it's pretty bad. I'm just gonna put it at C tier. Pokémon Legends Arceus, a game revealed along with BDSP nobody expected but everyone loves, including me. This game took a huge step into open world Pokemon. First, you can now roll to dodge Pokemon that try to kill you, and you can die too for the first time. The game has a new mechanic where you can make your move more powerful and have less turns, or be able to make your move weaker and be able to hit multiple times in a row. The world is based around the Hisui region, which is just Sinnoh in the past. The region is split into 5 areas of different biomes, with the main hub village, which is the past version of Jubilife City. The story is fun, where basically God sends you to the past for some reason, but at the same time there's this rift in space-time, and you do tough to save Pokemon that the rift changed, but the rift still remains a mystery. Then you fight Horse Dialga or Palkia, and you don't even know why, but you do and you win. That's the end. Right? Nope. There aren't many new Pokemon in the region, but most of them are used for the different ride functionalities. Sometimes you can find Pokemon in the wild that have red eyes and are big, and they are called alphas. Shiny hunting in the game is the best it's ever been. I've gotten tons of them. The characters were done in an awesome way. Almost every character is an ancestor of characters we know today in the present Pokemon games. He of Rowan, she of Cyrus, and then there's him. Anyways, this game is an actual masterpiece, and did I mention I completed the Pokédex and fought God? Yup. Easily an S-tier game. Finally, we have the latest installments into the Pokemon franchise, Scarlet and Violet. Now these games I have an interesting take on. Pokemon Violet is the Pokemon game I have the most hours on, and up to its release, I was extremely hyped for it. Until I played it. A step into a fully open world Pokemon game was good. You could do any of the 3 pathways the game has in any order, even if it wasn't level scaled. And traversal with the box legendaries felt pretty good, with flying, swimming, and running all on the same Pokemon. However, even with such a giant world, it felt completely empty. There was nothing to do in any of the cities except buy from copy and pasted interiorless stores and the occasional gym. The characters are good though. They revolve around the school you go to, and your companions, unlike the X and Y games, are made for a fun journey. You have your best friend with a dying dog, a tech girl that likes to break the fourth wall a lot, and an obsessive but fun rival who likes to battle. Though, the champion of the game kinda sucks. The game doesn't really have much of a story in most of the game besides the arc some people go through in the 3 pathways. Until you get to the end game, when you're put in an amazing strange world in the Great Crater called Area Zero, where you learn about Arven's parent that died, and then you fight that parent in an AI form. Not bad. The Pokemon are just okay. They aren't too special. Better than Sword and Shield, but the picks were pretty random. The box legendaries are technically not legendaries, but paradoxes, a new kind of past or future Pokemon you find in Area Zero. The Terrestrial gimmick is neat, and that's about it for that. And I also completed this game's Pokédex too. If I was going to include the DLC, the game would be totally an A tier, but I'm not. The game is just far too buggy and incomplete to be super fun, so I'm going to place it at a solid B tier. So, what do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. And did you know I just made a Discord server? If you'd like to join, use the link down in the description. Thanks for watching.